Did you know South Carolina sits on an active earthquake zone powerful enough to level entire cities? Or that there's an island run entirely by thousands of research monkeys where humans aren't allowed? Most people think South Carolina is just beaches and sweet tea, but the Palmetto State hides some of the most insane geography on the East Coast. Buckle up. Here are 30 mind-blowing facts that'll change how you see South Carolina forever. Fact 30. The earthquake time bomb. South Carolina isn't supposed to have earthquakes. It's nowhere near tectonic plate boundaries. Yet the Charleston seismic zone is one of the most dangerous earthquake zones on the entire East Coast. This geological troublemaker sits right beneath the city, a crack in Earth's crust that nobody fully understands. Scientists know it's active, they know it's dangerous, but they can't predict when it'll strike next. Every day, millions of people live directly above an active fault line that refuses to follow the rules of plate tectonics. Fact 29. The swimming rabbits. The swamp rabbit isn't just a cute trail name. It's a real species, the largest cottontail rabbit in North America. These rabbits can actually swim, using their powerful hind legs to paddle through swamps and marshes. When predators chase them, they dive into water and swim to safety. Early settlers were shocked watching rabbits swimming like beavers through Carolina swamps. These aquatic bunnies have turned wetlands into their personal highway system. Fact 28. The town the government erased. Ellenton, South Carolina was a thriving community until the government decided it needed to disappear. In the early 1950s, the Atomic Energy Commission chose this area for the Savannah River site, a top-secret nuclear weapons facility. Over 6,000 people received eviction notices. The government bulldozed everything: houses, churches, schools, cemeteries. They even relocated the dead. Ellenton was erased from the map like it never existed. Today, the site sits in a 310-square-mile restricted zone. The town became a ghost story, sacrificed for Cold War nuclear ambitions. Fact 27. The secret nuclear reactor. Hidden in the middle of South Carolina sits one of America's most important Cold War facilities. The Savannah River site produced tritium and plutonium for nuclear weapons, fueling America's atomic arsenal for decades. This facility once held the world's first full-scale hydrogen bomb fuel production lines. At its peak, 5 nuclear reactors operated simultaneously. The site covers 310 square miles, larger than many cities. South Carolina quietly hosted one of the most dangerous industrial operations in human history. Fact 26. The earthquake that destroyed a city. August 31, 1886. Charleston experienced the largest earthquake in East Coast history. The magnitude 7.0 plus quake struck at 9:50 p.m. The shaking lasted nearly a minute, but that minute changed everything. Over 100 people died. Thousands of buildings collapsed. The ground cracked open, swallowing streets. Tremors were felt across 30 states, from Boston to New Orleans. Damage in today's money would exceed $700 million. Charleston was essentially destroyed. The wild part? It could happen again tomorrow. Fact 25. The ancient swamp. Congaree National Park protects one of the last ancient floodplain forests left in North America. Some of the oldest and tallest trees east of the Mississippi River grow here, including loblolly pines reaching over 160 feet tall. Walking through Congaree feels like stepping into prehistoric America. And yes, alligators patrol these waters, some reaching 12 feet long. This is the deepest, oldest swamp ecosystem in the United States, a living museum of what the Southeast looked like before humans arrived. Fact 24. The underground lake. Beneath the surface of Lake Jocassee lies an entire drowned world. When Duke Power created the lake in 1973, they flooded the Jocassee Valley, submerging everything beneath 300 feet of crystal-clear water. Old cemeteries still sit on the lake bottom, headstones standing in the darkness. Foundations of homes, churches, and farms remain perfectly preserved in the cold depths. Divers occasionally explore these underwater ghost towns, swimming through what used to be someone's front yard. Fact 23. The Revolutionary War capital. South Carolina has the highest concentration of Revolutionary War battles of any state. Over 220 battles and skirmishes happened here, more than all the northern colonies combined. While history books focus on Lexington and Valley Forge, the real war was being fought in South Carolina's swamps and forests. Francis Marion, the Swamp Fox, led brutal guerrilla warfare from the wetlands. South Carolina was the Revolutionary War's bloodiest battlefield, and most Americans have no idea. Fact 22. The exploding rocks. Near Gaffney sits a geological oddity that's been terrorizing residents for decades. Massive granite boulders occasionally crack and explode with sounds like gunshots or thunder. These exfoliation events happen when internal stresses in the rock suddenly release. The most famous is a 40-foot granite boulder locals call the Big-Eared Man. When pieces break off, the sound echoes for miles, shaking homes. Some residents have moved because the random explosions are too unsettling. Fact 21. The Ghost Lighthouse. Sullivan's Island Lighthouse is the strangest lighthouse in America. Built in 1962, instead of the romantic, cylindrical lighthouse you'd expect, this one looks like a triangular office building. It's black and white, angular, and completely utilitarian. The architect intentionally designed it to be unromantic, a middle finger to lighthouse tradition. At 140 feet tall, it's still functional, but it looks like someone accidentally built an air traffic control tower on a beach. If you're enjoying this content, and if even one of these facts surprises you, hit that like button and subscribe. Your support truly keeps this channel going. Thank you. Fact 20. The Ghost Forest. Lake Marion is dotted with dead cypress trees, still standing tall decades after the lake was created. These ghost trees, bleached white by sun and water, rise from the lake like skeletal fingers. When the Santee Cooper project flooded the area in the 1940s, thousands of cypress trees were killed but didn't fall. Their rot-resistant wood has kept them standing for over 80 years. Boaters navigate through these ghost trees, creating an eerie forest of the dead. Fact 19. The Underwater Town. Beneath Lake Murray's surface lies an entire town sacrificed for hydroelectric power. When the Saluda Dam was completed in 1930, it flooded everything in the valley below. Old settlements, farms, churches, and roads disappeared beneath the rising water. During severe droughts, when water levels drop dramatically, foundations and old roads sometimes emerge like ghosts from the past. Lake Murray is a beautiful recreation spot built on top of a drowned community. Fact 18. The UFO Highway. South Carolina ranks among the top 10 states for UFO sightings per capita. The coast, especially near Myrtle Beach, experiences regular reports of strange lights and unexplained aircraft. Some attribute this to military activity from nearby bases. Others believe something genuinely unexplained is happening. UFO enthusiasts consider the stretch from Charleston to Myrtle Beach a legitimate UFO highway. Whether it's experimental aircraft or actual extraterrestrial visitors, South Carolina's skies are definitely weird. Fact 17. The first freed land. Hilton Head Island became one of the first places in America freed during the Civil War. In November 1861, Union forces captured the island and it became a refuge for escaped slaves. By war's end, approximately 10,000 freed slaves lived on Hilton Head, creating one of the earliest self-governed black communities in America. They farmed, built schools, and established churches. Hilton Head's history as a freedom sanctuary is often overshadowed by its modern reputation as a golf resort. Fact 16. America's only tea plantation. The Charleston Tea Garden on Wadmalaw Island is the only commercial tea plantation in North America. This 127-acre tea plantation produces thousands of pounds of tea annually. The climate, soil, and humidity create perfect conditions for growing tea plants. Every cup of American classic tea comes from South Carolina soil, grown, harvested, and processed entirely in the United States. It's the only place where tea is commercially cultivated on U.S. soil. Fact 15. The ancient supervolcano. Buried beneath South Carolina lies the remains of a 350-million-year-old volcano. The Winnsboro Metagranite Formation is all that's left of an ancient supervolcano that erupted when South Carolina was part of a completely different continent. This wasn't a small volcano. It was massive, potentially rivaling Yellowstone in scale. You can touch rocks that were once molten lava from a volcano that erupted before dinosaurs existed. South Carolina's volcanic past is hidden in plain sight. Fact 14. The Vanishing Beach. Boneyard Beach at Botany Bay. Plantation looks like something from a post-apocalyptic movie. Dead trees stand in the surf, their bleached skeletons creating a haunting landscape. This happened because of coastal erosion. The ocean is literally eating South Carolina's coast. Trees that once grew hundreds of feet inland now stand in saltwater, killed by the advancing sea. It's beautiful and terrifying, a visual reminder that the ocean is slowly reclaiming the land. Fact 13. South Carolina's Stonehenge. Every spring, the rocky shoals spider lilies create one of nature's most spectacular displays. These massive, star-shaped white flowers bloom in the Catawba River, covering entire sections of rocky shoals. The blooms are so dense they're visible from satellites in space. For a few weeks each May, the river transforms into a field of white flowers growing directly from rocks in the middle of rushing water. South Carolina's floral Stonehenge appears briefly each year, then vanishes until the next spring. Fact 12. The Firefly Event. Congaree National Park hosts one of nature's rarest light shows, synchronous fireflies. For about 2 weeks each year, thousands of fireflies flash in perfect unison, creating a coordinated light display that looks computer-generated. Only a handful of places on Earth have fireflies that synchronize their flashing. Scientists still don't fully understand how they coordinate. The males flash together to attract females, creating waves of light rolling through the forest. It's a once-in-a-century event that happens every year. Fact 11. The fishing dolphins. South Carolina's coastal dolphins have developed one of the rarest hunting behaviors on Earth, strand feeding. Bottlenose dolphins work together to herd fish onto mudflats and beaches, then launch themselves out of the water onto the shore to catch their prey. They literally beach themselves intentionally, grab fish, and wiggle back into the water. Only a few dolphin populations worldwide do this. Watching dolphins hunt by throwing themselves onto land defies everything you think you know about marine mammals. Fact 10. Monkey Island. Morgan Island is run entirely by monkeys, and humans aren't allowed. This 4,489-acre island hosts over 4,000 rhesus macaques used for medical research. The monkeys were relocated here in the 1970s after causing problems in Puerto Rico. Now, they live in a semi-wild state, breeding and thriving. Boaters can see the island from a distance, but landing is strictly prohibited. The monkeys have taken over completely. South Carolina has a legitimate Planet of the Apes island. Fact 9. The beach airport. Myrtle Beach's earliest airport wasn't a traditional runway. It was literally the beach itself. In the early days of aviation, pilots would land planes directly on the hard-packed sand, racing the tide to take off before waves reached their aircraft. The beach was wide, flat, and firm enough to support small planes. Tourists would watch planes land between sunbathers and surfers. Imagine trying to relax on the beach while planes landed next to your towel. Fact 8. The ancient tree. The angel oak on Johns Island is one of America's oldest living things. This southern live oak is estimated to be 400 to 500 years old, possibly older. The tree was already ancient when America declared independence. Its massive limbs stretch 187 feet across. The tree stands 65 feet tall and provides 17,000 square feet of shade. Standing beneath the angel oak feels like meeting a living piece of history. This tree has survived hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, and centuries of human activity. Fact 7. The accidental nuclear bomb. On March 11, 1958, South Carolina almost experienced a nuclear catastrophe. A B-47 bomber accidentally dropped a 7,600-pound Mark VI nuclear bomb on Mars Bluff. The bomb fell from 15,000 feet and crashed directly into Walter Gregg's backyard. The conventional explosives detonated, creating a 35-foot deep crater and destroying the family's home. Miraculously, the nuclear core didn't detonate, preventing a Hiroshima-scale disaster. The Gregg family survived with injuries. South Carolina came terrifyingly close to becoming America's first domestic nuclear bombing victim. Fact 6. The haunted base. Fort Jackson is reportedly one of the most haunted military installations in America. Soldiers regularly report shadow figures walking through barracks, phantom footsteps in empty hallways, and unexplained knocking on doors at night. The old hospital is particularly active, with reports of medical equipment moving on its own and voices calling out in empty rooms. Drill sergeants have reported entire formations of ghost soldiers marching in the darkness. Fort Jackson's haunted reputation is firmly established among soldiers. Fact 5. The Vanishing Island. Near Murrells Inlet, a mysterious sandbar appears and disappears with the tides. At low tide, a substantial island emerges from the water, complete with beach and shallow pools. Boaters anchor and walk around on solid ground. 6 hours later at high tide, the entire island vanishes beneath the waves like it never existed. This tidal island exists in constant transformation, appearing twice daily before disappearing again. South Carolina has an island with an identity crisis. Fact 4. The Pirate Republic. Charleston was once the pirate capital of the American colonies. In 1718, the infamous Blackbeard blockaded the entire city, holding it hostage for nearly a week. his fleet prevented anyone from entering or leaving Charleston Harbor. Blackbeard demanded medical supplies as ransom, threatening to send hostages' heads to the governor. The city complied, and Blackbeard sailed away. For years, pirates used South Carolina's complex coastline as the perfect base for raiding merchant ships. Fact 3. The Boiling River. During extreme summer heat waves, shallow rivers in South Carolina's upper Piedmont can reach temperatures exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The Saluda River and similar waterways become dangerously hot, warm enough to cause heat shock. Fish die by the thousands. The water feels like a hot tub. These temperature spikes happen when air temperatures soar above 100 degrees Fahrenheit for days, heating shallow, rocky sections until the water literally boils in the sun. South Carolina's rivers occasionally forget they're supposed to be refreshing. Fact 2. The Gullah Nation. South Carolina's Sea Islands are home to the Gullah people, one of the oldest and most distinct African diaspora cultures in the United States. When enslaved Africans were brought to coastal plantations, the isolation of the Sea Islands allowed them to preserve their West and Central African languages, traditions, crafts, and cuisine. The Gullah language is a Creole mixing English with African languages. Their sweetgrass baskets use techniques unchanged for centuries. The Gullah culture is a living connection to African heritage. Fact 1. The Bottomless Lake. Lake Murray has spawned legends of bottomless holes and underwater tunnels leading to the ocean. While not actually bottomless, the lake reaches depths exceeding 200 feet in some trenches, deep enough to hide 20-story buildings. The lake's deepest points have never been fully explored. Divers report sudden drop-offs, where the bottom disappears into darkness. Local legends claim some holes connect to underground river systems stretching to the coast. Lake Murray might not be bottomless, but it's deep enough to hide secrets. Bonus fact: the earthquake zone that won't quit. South Carolina experiences approximately 10 to 15 measurable earthquakes every year. Most are too small to feel, but they're constant reminders that the Charleston seismic zone remains active. The state has sophisticated monitoring systems tracking every tremor, trying to predict when the next big one will hit. Scientists know it's not a question of if, but when. The 1886 earthquake was catastrophic, and a repeat would be even worse given modern population density. South Carolina sits on a geological time bomb. If you enjoyed this South Carolina geography journey, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below with the most surprising fact you learned. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.